Alex Carter built a tech empire from nothing, only to be blindsided by his wife and father-in-law's plot to replace him with a slick new guy. In one explosive boardroom showdown, he turned their betrayal into his ultimate victory, proving he's the real power behind the throne. Buckle up for a wild ride of loyalty, deceit, and a comeback that'll leave you speechless. Alex Carter, a 38-year-old tech prodigy from San Diego, had spent 12 years transforming elite home tech from a cluttered garage startup into a $70 million juggernaut. His father-in-law, Richard Bennett, had tinkered with basic home automation gadgets, but Alex's relentless coding and deal-making turned the company into a powerhouse. From luxury estates in Los Angeles to penthouses in Miami, his smart systems controlled lights, security, and climate with seamless precision. Every breakthrough bore his fingerprints, every major client his signature. He poured his life into the company, sacrificing late nights and family time, believing it secured a legacy for his wife, Sarah, and their future. While Richard played golf with investors at La Jolla's exclusive clubs, Alex debugged software until dawn. While Sarah charmed at charity galas, he negotiated contracts with tycoons like hotel magnate Michael Cruz. His commitment was absolute, even when it meant missing anniversaries or skipping vacations. The grind felt worth it, until a single evening shattered his world. It was a crisp November night at Richard's sprawling La Jolla mansion. The dining room buzzed with talk of new deals and beachfront properties. Alex sat beside Sarah, her hand resting lightly on his, a rare moment of connection. Richard raised his glass, his voice cutting through the chatter. "Big changes are coming for elite home tech," he announced, his gaze locking onto Alex. "Sarah's new partner, Ethan Reed, will take over operations starting Monday." The words hit like a sucker punch. Sarah's grip tightened, but her eyes avoided his. The room fell silent, save for the faint clink of a fork against a plate. "New partner." Alex's voice was low, barely containing the storm brewing inside. Sarah leaned in, her tone calm but distant. "It's the right move for the company's future, Alex." Before he could respond, the door swung open. Ethan Reed, 32, strode in with a polished grin, his confidence radiating like he'd already claimed the throne. "L.A. Traffic was brutal," he said, extending a hand toward Alex. "Great to finally meet the legend." Alex stared at the outstretched hand, unmoving. He wasn't about to play nice with the man stealing his life's work. Richard leaned forward, his tone patronizing. "We've arranged a generous severance package, Alex. Let's keep this smooth." The offer stung worse than the betrayal itself. They thought a check could erase 12 years of his blood and sweat. Sarah's hand slipped away, her silence louder than any words. Alex's mind raced, replaying every late night, every breakthrough, every sacrifice. They wanted to discard him like an outdated prototype. Ethan slid into a chair, already talking strategy as if Alex were invisible. "I've got connections with Silicon Valley VCs," he boasted. "We'll scale elite home tech to $1 billion in 5 years." Alex's jaw clenched. He'd built the company's reputation on results, not promises. Clients like Olivia Harper, whose Bel Air mansion ran on his custom security protocols, trusted him alone. Ethan's slick pitch wouldn't change that. The dinner dragged on, but Alex barely touched his food. His mind was elsewhere, calculating. He knew something they didn't. 7 years ago, Richard, distracted by a high-profile merger, had signed a contract granting Alex full control of elite home tech's patents. Every line of code, every proprietary system, legally, it was his. Richard hadn't bothered to read the fine print, and Sarah had been too busy planning galas to notice. That oversight was Alex's lifeline. As the guests dispersed, Sarah lingered, her voice soft but calculated. "Alex, this isn't personal. It's business." He met her gaze, searching for the woman he'd married 12 years ago. "Business," he repeated, his tone sharp. "You planned this behind my back. That's as personal as it gets." She flinched, but said nothing, turning to join Ethan and Richard in hushed conversation by the fireplace. Alex left the mansion without another word. Back at his downtown apartment, he didn't sleep. His home office became a war room, files and contracts spread across the desk. By 3 a.m., he'd confirmed his leverage. The patents were ironclad, and major clients, Cruz, Harper, and others, had clauses demanding his personal oversight. Without him, elite home tech was a hollow shell. Richard and Sarah thought they could replace him, but they'd underestimated the man who built their empire. At 6 a.m., Alex called his assistant, Mia, his voice steady but charged. "Set an emergency board meeting for 10 a.m. a.m. Everyone needs to be there. Mia, sensing the fire in his tone, didn't question it. Consider it done. What's the play? Alex smirked, flipping through the patent documents. We're taking back what's mine. He hung up, grabbed his laptop, and headed to the San Diego office. The sun was just rising over the Pacific, but for Alex, the real battle was about to begin. Richard, Sarah, and Ethan thought they'd won. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Alex Carter arrived at Elite Home Tech's San Diego headquarters at 7 a.m., the city still waking under a pale morning sky. The office was quiet, the hum of servers the only sound as he strode to his corner suite. He wasn't just the architect of the company's tech. He was its backbone, and today he'd prove it. His assistant, Mia, arrived minutes later, clutching her usual coffee but sensing the charged air. You look ready to burn the place down, she said, half joking. Alex handed her a sealed folder. Not burn. Reclaim. Get the board in by 10 a.m., no excuses. Mia nodded, her eyes sharp with understanding, and left to make calls. Alex locked his door and opened his laptop, diving into the legal arsenal he'd uncovered the night before. The patent agreement from 7 years ago was his trump card. Every smart system, every line of proprietary code, belonged to him. Richard Bennett, his father-in-law, had signed it without a second glance, too focused on landing a deal with a Vegas casino chain. Now, that oversight would cost him. Alex cross-checked client contracts next. Michael Cruz's boutique hotel chain, Olivia Harper's Bel Air estate, and a dozen other high-profile accounts had clauses tying their multi-million-dollar deals to his direct involvement. Without Alex, those contracts were voidable, and Elite Home Tech's revenue would collapse overnight. By 8 a.m., he drafted a presentation, each slide a calculated strike. The first laid out the patent ownership, the second detailed the client clauses, and the third projected the financial fallout if he walked away. Alex wasn't bluffing. He'd walk if he had to, but he'd rather stay and win. His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah, his wife, whose betrayal still stung from last night's dinner. Can we talk before the meeting? Please. He ignored it, his focus razor-sharp. Sarah had made her choice, siding with her father and Ethan Reed, the slick newcomer angling for his job. Talking wouldn't change the facts. At 9 a.m., Mia knocked. Board's confirmed. They're curious. Richard's been calling them, sounding nervous. Alex smirked. Good. Let him sweat. He reviewed his notes one last time, anticipating Richard's counterarguments. The man was a charmer, not a strategist. He'd try to spin this as a misunderstanding. Ethan, with his Silicon Valley connections, might pitch big promises to sway the board. But promises didn't pay bills. Alex's tech and client trust did. At 9:45, the boardroom door opened. Richard walked in first, his usual swagger dimmed, followed by Sarah, her posture tense. Ethan trailed behind, clutching a leather portfolio, his confidence unshaken. Alex, glad you're here, Richard said, forcing a smile. Let's make this transition smooth. Alex didn't respond, setting up his laptop at the head of the table. The board members, Laura Evans, David Torres, and 3 others, filed in, their expressions a mix of curiosity and unease. Laura, the sharpest of the group, eyed Alex closely. This better be worth the rush, Carter, she said. It is, he replied, his voice steady. At 10 a.m., Alex launched his presentation. Before we discuss any leadership changes, he began, projecting the patent agreement. Let's clarify what Elite Home Tech actually owns. He clicked to the first slide, the contract's key clause highlighted. Every system, every protocol, every piece of tech driving this company's $70 million valuation is mine. Richard signed it over 7 years ago. Gasps rippled through the room. Richard's face tightened, his hands gripping the table. That's a technicality, he stammered. We can renegotiate. Alex clicked to the next slide, showing client contracts. Michael Cruz, Olivia Harper, and 60% of our revenue depend on my personal oversight. Without me, those deals vanish. Sarah leaned forward, her voice sharp. Alex, you're holding the company hostage. He met her gaze, unflinching. You held me hostage when you planned to replace me without a word. Ethan jumped in, his tone smooth. Let's not get emotional. I can manage those clients. Alex's eyes narrowed. You? They don't even know your name. Laura Evans raised a hand, cutting through the tension. Alex, are you saying the company can't function without you? He nodded. Legally and financially, yes. Replace me, and you're left with a name and a building. Nothing else. David Torres, the board's financial expert, frowned at Richard. Did you know about the patents? Richard shifted uncomfortably. I trusted Alex to handle the details. Alex's laugh was cold. You trusted me to build your empire. Now you want to give it to him? He pointed at Ethan, whose smirk faltered. The room crackled with unease. Richard tried to pivot. We'll offer you a bigger stake, Alex. Let's work this out. But Alex wasn't here to negotiate scraps. You thought a severance check would silence me, he said. I'm not leaving, and I'm not signing over my patents. Laura leaned back, her mind clearly racing. We need time to verify this, she said. Alex nodded. Verify away. But every day you delay, clients will notice. They trust me, not you. As the meeting adjourned, Richard stormed out, muttering about legal counsel. Sarah lingered, approaching Alex as he packed his laptop. This isn't you, she said, her voice low. You're tearing everything apart. He didn't look up. You tore it apart when you chose Ethan over me. She hesitated, then left without another word. Ethan hovered near the door, his portfolio unopened, his plans unraveling. Back in his office, Alex got a call from Michael Cruz. Heard there's drama, Cruz said. You still running the show? Alex's grip tightened on the phone. Always have, always will. Cruz chuckled. Good. My hotels need you, not some new guy. Hanging up, Alex felt the weight of his next move. The patents and contracts were his shield, but he sensed a bigger weapon waiting to be found. Richard's nervous glances hinted at secrets Alex was determined to uncover before the next board meeting. The San Diego skyline gleamed outside Elite Home Tech's headquarters as Alex Carter prepared for his next move. After the morning's boardroom showdown, the air buzzed with tension, but Alex was far from done. His patents and client contracts had rattled Richard Bennett and Ethan Reed, but he sensed a deeper vulnerability in their plan. Back in his office, he dove into the company's financial records, his instincts screaming that Richard's nervous deflection hid something bigger. Mia, his assistant, knocked at 11 a.m., her expression serious. Cruz called again, she said. He's worried about rumors of a leadership shakeup. Wants your word you're staying. Alex nodded. Tell him I'm not going anywhere. And pull the last 5 years of expense reports. Something's off. Mia left to handle the task, and Alex sifted through digital archives, his fingers flying over the keyboard. By noon, he found it. A trail of irregular transactions buried in obscure folders. Payments to non-existent consulting firms, inflated vendor invoices, and transfers to offshore accounts. $2 million in total, all authorized by Richard's electronic signature. The discovery hit like a jolt of electricity. Richard hadn't just plotted to replace him. He'd been siphoning funds from the company Alex had built. Fury surged, but Alex channeled it into focus. This was the leverage to end their scheme for good. He called Mia back. Set another board meeting for tomorrow, 8 a.m., and get our accountant, Lisa Tran, on the line. Mia's eyes widened as she scanned the documents he handed her. This is fraud, Alex. Like prison time fraud. He nodded grimly. Exactly. Richard's not walking away from this. Lisa confirmed the findings within an hour, her voice tight over the phone. These transactions are deliberate. We need to alert the board and probably the authorities. Alex agreed. Prep a report for the meeting. I want every detail airtight. That afternoon, Alex met with Olivia Harper, a key client whose Bel Air estate relied on his security systems. She greeted him at her downtown office, her tone direct. I hear Richard's trying to push you out. My contract's with you, Alex. No deal. He reassured her, his confidence unshaken. I'm not leaving, Olivia. And I've got proof Richard's the one who needs to go. Her nod was firm. Handle it. I'm with you. The conversation solidified Alex's resolve. Clients like Harper and Cruz were his army, their loyalty his shield. By evening, Sarah texted again, her message desperate. Meet me tonight. We can fix this. Alex ignored it, his focus on the financial evidence. He spent hours cross-referencing transactions, ensuring no detail could be challenged. At 9 p.m., Mia returned with Lisa's report, a damning catalog of Richard's misconduct. This'll bury him, Mia said, handing over the file. Alex skimmed it, his jaw tight. It's not just about burying him. It's about saving what I built. The next morning, the boardroom was a pressure cooker. Richard arrived early, flanked by a lawyer, his posture defensive. Ethan hovered nearby, his earlier swagger replaced by unease. Sarah sat at the far end, her eyes darting between Alex and her father. The board members, Laura Evans, David Torres, and the others, settled in, sensing the stakes. Alex stood, projecting the first financial document. Before we discuss leadership, he said, his voice cutting through the silence. "We need to address $2 million in unauthorized transfers, all signed by Richard Bennett." The room erupted in murmurs. Richard's lawyer leaned in, whispering frantically, but Richard waved him off. "This is a misunderstanding," he said, his voice unsteady. Alex advanced to the next slide, showing a transfer to a shell company. "A misunderstanding that drained company funds for 4 years? These are your signatures, Richard." Laura Evans leaned forward, her tone icy. "You approve these, Bennett? Without board oversight?" Richard stammered, "I delegated routine expenses." "I didn't." Alex cut him off, displaying another document. "Routine? Payments to fake consultants and offshore accounts aren't routine. This is theft." Ethan tried to interject, his voice shaky. "This is irrelevant to the transition. I can stabilize the company." Alex turned on him. "Stabilize it? You didn't even know the company was being robbed under your nose." David Torres, the board's financial hawk, scribbled notes furiously. "We need an audit. Now." Sarah stood, her voice pleading. "Alex, this is too far. You're destroying everything." He met her gaze, his tone cold. "You destroyed it when you backed a thief over me." The board moved to vote, suspending Richard from all duties pending a full investigation. Ethan's face fell, his portfolio untouched, his role in the company evaporating. Laura addressed Alex. "What's your ask, Carter?" He didn't hesitate. "Interim CEO, effective immediately, and a guarantee that my patents stay mine until we resolve this." The vote was swift, unanimous. Richard stormed out, his lawyer trailing behind. Ethan lingered, muttering about unfair tactics, but left when no one engaged. Sarah approached Alex as the room cleared. "You didn't have to do this," she said, her voice breaking. "You chose your side, Sarah," he replied, packing his laptop. "Now live with it." As she walked away, Alex felt no regret, only clarity. The financial fraud was his kill shot, but the war wasn't over. Richard's schemes ran deep, and Alex was ready to unearth every secret to secure his empire. The fallout from Alex Carter's boardroom bombshell rippled through Elite Home Tech's San Diego office by midday. Richard Bennett's suspension left the staff whispering, and the news of his $2 million fraud scheme spread like wildfire. Alex, now interim CEO, sat in his office, fielding calls from anxious clients. His phone lit up with a message from Michael Cruz, the hotel tycoon whose boutique chain relied on Alex's tech. "Heard about the mess. You in charge now?" Alex typed back, fully. "Your projects are safe." Cruz's reply was instant. "Good. Let's talk expansion tomorrow." The vote of confidence fueled Alex's drive. He wasn't just holding the line. He was rebuilding the empire on his terms. Mia burst in at 1 p.m., her tablet buzzing with alerts. "The board's fast-tracking the audit, and Olivia Harper's team wants a meeting to confirm you're staying on her project." Alex nodded, his mind already 3 steps ahead. "Schedule Harper for 3 p.m. and get me every financial record tied to Richard's accounts." "There's more to this." Mia hesitated. "You think he's hiding something bigger?" Alex's eyes narrowed. "I know he is." He turned back to his laptop, digging into vendor contracts linked to the fraudulent transfers. One name kept popping up: Coastal Ventures, a supposed consultancy with no online footprint. Suspicion gnawed at him. This wasn't just sloppy bookkeeping. By 2 p.m., Lisa Tran, the accountant, emailed a preliminary audit summary. Coastal Ventures had received $800,000 in fees over 2 years, with payments routed through a Delaware shell company. Alex cross-referenced the data with bank records and found a link to a personal account in Richard's name. The audacity stunned him. Richard hadn't just skimmed profits. He'd built a secret slush fund while plotting to hand the company to Ethan Reed. Alex forwarded the evidence to the board, adding a note. "We need to freeze Richard's access to all accounts. Now." At 3 p.m., Alex met Olivia Harper via video call. Her tone was sharp but supportive. "My estate security system is your design, Alex. If you're out, I'm out." He reassured her, outlining his plan to stabilize Elite Home Tech. "I'm running the show, Olivia. Your system's secure, and I'm rolling out upgrades next month." She signed off, satisfied, and extended her contract for another year. The win solidified Alex's leverage. Clients were his stronghold, and he'd use it to lock Richard out for good. Back in the office, Alex prepped for a follow-up board meeting. Laura Evans called at 4:30 p.m., her voice tense. "The audit's uncovering more discrepancies. We're talking potential criminal charges. What's your next step?" Alex was ready. "I want majority ownership. The patents and client trust are mine. Without me, there's no company. Laura paused, then agreed to propose it to the board. You're playing hardball, Carter. But you've earned it. The call ended, and Alex felt the tide turning. Richard's empire was crumbling, and Alex was building his own. At 6 p.m., Sarah appeared at his office door, unannounced. Her voice trembled as she stepped inside. Alex, this is spiraling. You're ruining my father. He leaned back in his chair, his gaze unflinching. He ruined himself when he stole from the company I built. She took a step closer, her hands clasped tightly. We can salvage this. Work with me, please. Alex stood, his tone icy. Work with you? You sat at that dinner and handed my job to Ethan. There's no we anymore. Sarah's eyes glistened, but she pressed on. I made a mistake. Let me fix it. He shook his head. You fixed nothing when you had the chance. Now I'm fixing it. She left without another word, and Alex turned to his screen, pulling up a new lead. A tip from Lisa revealed another questionable payment. This one to a tech startup tied to Ethan Reed. The pieces clicked. Richard had been funneling money to prop up Ethan's credentials, likely to justify his takeover. Alex emailed the evidence to the board, requesting an emergency session the next morning. He wasn't just fighting for control. He was exposing a conspiracy that threatened everything he'd created. By 8 p.m., the office was empty, but Alex stayed, refining his strategy. A call from David Torres, the board's financial expert, confirmed the board's shock at the new findings. Richard's done, David said. We're voting you in as permanent CEO tomorrow. Ethan's out too. No one trusts him. Alex exhaled, the weight of victory settling in. And the shares? He asked. David's reply was firm. Majority's yours. You've got the votes. Hanging up, Alex leaned back, staring at the city lights. The company he'd built from a garage was his again, but the cost was steep. His marriage, his trust, gone. As he locked his office, a text from Cruz arrived, confirming a $5 million deal for a new hotel in Seattle. The message was a reminder. Alex's work spoke louder than Richard's schemes or Sarah's pleas. Tomorrow's meeting would seal his triumph, but the real challenge lay ahead, steering elite home tech to new heights while guarding against the next betrayal. Richard and Ethan were down, but Alex knew men like them never stopped plotting. He'd be ready. A year after the dinner that upended his life, Alex Carter stood at the helm of elite home tech, now valued at $110 million and dominating luxury automation across the U.S. The San Diego office hummed with new hires and ambitious projects, a stark contrast to the chaos Richard Bennett had left behind. Alex reviewed a contract for a Miami resort chain, his focus unbroken despite the morning's flood of emails. His assistant, Mia, entered at 9 a.m., tablet in hand. The Vegas deal's locked, $12 million for Cruz's new hotel. And a Portuguese firm wants to meet about European expansion. Alex nodded, signing the contract. Book the Portuguese for next week. We're moving fast. His phone buzzed with a news alert. Richard Bennett, ex-chairman of Elite Home Tech, sentenced to 4 years for embezzlement. The audit had exposed $3 million in misappropriated funds, and the evidence, bank transfers, fake invoices, and Richard's digital signatures, was undeniable. Ethan Reed, the would-be usurper, had crashed out of the tech world, fired from a floundering startup in Seattle after botching a major pitch. Their downfall was complete, but Alex felt no glee, only resolve to protect what he'd reclaimed. At 10 a.m., Alex met with Laura Evans, the board's most influential member, to discuss global plans. You've turned this company into a titan, she said, reviewing profit reports showing a 40% margin increase. Richard never saw this potential. Alex leaned forward, his tone firm. He saw dollar signs, not vision. That's why we're here now. Laura proposed a board vote to make his CEO role permanent and grant him 60% ownership. You've earned it, she added. Alex agreed, knowing his patents and client loyalty secured his control. The vote passed by noon, cementing his authority. Clients like Olivia Harper and Michael Cruz doubled down on their trust. Harper signed a $3 million deal for her new Napa Valley estate, insisting Alex oversee every detail. Cruz greenlit automation for his Seattle and Austin hotels, texting Alex directly, "You're the only one I trust." Each contract was a brick in the empire Alex rebuilt, not just for profit, but for vindication. Elite Home Tech's expansion into Portland and Denver was underway, with talks for a Lisbon office gaining traction. The company wasn't just surviving, it was thriving under his command. At 2 p.m., Sarah emailed, her words cautious. "I see your success everywhere. Can we meet? I owe you an apology. Alex deleted it without replying, as he had her previous messages. Her betrayal at that fateful dinner, handing his role to Ethan while holding his hand, had severed their bond. 18 years of marriage dissolved in her choice to prioritize ambition over loyalty. He felt no anger, only closure. His focus was forward, not on rehashing a broken past. By 3 p.m., Alex joined a video call with a new client, a luxury resort developer in Orlando. The developer, impressed by Alex's track record, offered a $10 million contract on the spot. Your name seals the deal, he said. Alex accepted, his confidence unshaken. Each signature reinforced his truth. He was elite home tech's heart, not Richard's name or Ethan's empty promises. As the call ended, Mia handed him a report projecting a $150 million valuation within 2 years. You're unstoppable, she said. Alex smirked. We're just getting started. That evening, Alex met Emily Chun, a brilliant software engineer he'd met at a San Francisco Tech Summit. Over coffee, she shared his excitement for innovation, her ideas sparking plans for a new AI-driven system. You're building something bigger than yourself, she said, her support a stark contrast to Sarah's opportunism. Alex nodded, feeling a rare lightness. I'm building it for me now, not anyone else. Their relationship, still new, grounded him in a way his marriage never had. As he left the cafe, a final email from Cruz confirmed a $15 million deal for a Las Vegas resort chain. Alex walked to his car, the Pacific breeze cool against his skin. A year ago, he'd been the overlooked workhorse, betrayed by those closest to him. Now, he was the architect of a global enterprise, free from the weight of false loyalties. Richard's conviction and Ethan's failure were justice served, but Alex's real victory was his unshakable control. He'd learned the hard way. Trust is earned, not assumed. Driving home, Alex reflected on the journey. The sting of Sarah's betrayal had faded, replaced by purpose. Elite home tech's future, new markets, new tech, new heights, was his to shape. An alert pinged. A Milan-based developer requested a meeting. Alex smiled, already planning the pitch. No one would underestimate him again. His empire carried his name, and every deal, every innovation, proved he was the one who'd built it, and the only one who could lead it.